So for today's tutorial, we will be needing a kneaded eraser, regular eraser, erasable color pencil or a normal one, a pencil, paper, normal paper, light table. If you don't have one, do not worry. A watercolor paper, brushes, of course some towels or some toilet paper or something, or a kitchen towel, wash, waters, and fine liners. So we're going to be painting this little chubby guy. I chose it because it has super cool colors. I chose a palette kind of similar to the one that is on this image. If you want to change your palette, that's fine. You can find in the description box this image, and also you can find this sketch that I did. You could either say no, I want to draw it myself, that's fine. You can draw your own tardigrade based on the previous image, or if you say I'm not super confident on my drawing skills, no worries, you can also find that sketch on the description box. And this is going to be the final result. As you can see, I picked some really cool colors. If you want to choose a different palette, feel free to do it. So we're going to begin by drawing onto the watercolor paper the sketch. If you don't have a light box, you can tape the sketch to your window and use the sunlight, or you can use the screen on your computer as sort of your light table, or you can use your iPad or something like that as a light table. So depending on how much detail you need as a guidance when you paint, you can decide how much detail you want to add to your sketch on the watercolor paper. Since we are not doing watercolors, it's not so important for you not to draw hard on the watercolor paper, but still try to be mindful of not drawing very hard. And at the end, if you feel like the lines are too strong and maybe they're going to be very noticeable at the end result, you can use the kneaded eraser in order to clean a little bit those parts, like to get the pencil lighter. So we are going to begin from left to right and from top to bottom in order to avoid smudging over the painting. And we're going to begin with the light areas in order not to get those painted with the other darker colors. So I'm gonna begin with just a light yellow straight out from the palette, and I'm just gonna go over all the light areas on his top left side. And now I'm going to begin with the medium tone. In this case, I'm going to use a super nice fuchsia, and this is going to be a predominant color. And as I was painting, I was still trying to define by my own standards which areas were going to be light, medium, or darker. And right now I'm just going to the bulk of his little left side, his pudgy left side, with this nice fuchsia. At the same time, I'm using orange for the areas that I have find that are not so light, but also not so dark. Again, this is very arbitrary, it's just based on my own taste. If you decide no, I want to change this part or use a different color, you can do it. But in this case, I decided to use the yellow for the lighter parts, fuchsia for kind of the medium parts, and kind of orange to be as a buffer for those areas where I was deciding maybe it's not so light but not so dark. if you feel that you cannot properly follow the tutorial just watching the video, you can find on the description box the final result, the sketch, and also the original, the reference image. You can have those, you can print those or put on up on your screen in order to be able to follow along a little bit better. It's up to you, whatever works for you. Just use it so that you can achieve a result that you will be proud of. Now that we are mostly done with those lighter, like intermediate areas, we're gonna go into the green parts that are also going to have like their dark areas, their lighter areas. So I used like this aquamarine color and green and a lighter green, a green that I mixed with some yellow. But also, yeah, like it was based on my taste when I saw the first image, the original one. and I defined what I decided was like the light areas or the medium areas, so that it will turn out super nice. For the darker areas, I applied some nice purple since it was a little bit darker than the super cool fuchsia. And since most of the fuchsia has already dried, I can work without worrying about smudging the whole painting. So I can go about the darker areas. So now that we're done with his whole body, I'm gonna do his manicure. I'm gonna paint his little nails with this like pale orange. So since it's already dried, I can go about it easily and like support my hand without smudging the whole thing. And if you feel like, well, it doesn't look as clear as I want, don't worry. We are going to use the fine liners in order to end the whole painting. We're going to do this outer line in order to define his little arms and his snout, his head, even his nails. Initially I was using an actual fine liner, but somehow I believe the felt tape got like, I don't know, clogged by the painting or something. So I ended up using a Sharpie, one of those fine liners Sharpies, which did the trick and it looked great. So there you have it, a super awesome groovy tardigrade. I hope you really enjoyed and were able to follow this tutorial.